Did Xavien Howard's post on Instagram give us a little bit of an insight on what's to come with the Miami Dolphins? What is up, Finn fans? Hope you guys are having a good Wednesday. It is hump day. We are on the downslope, getting close to the weekend. You guys get to breathe, kick off your shoes, maybe drink a little beer if you do, drink a little soda if you do, get to relax. But yeah, Xavien Howard yesterday kind of posted something on Instagram that we're going to go over and kind of talk about, is he the odd man out? Now, if you watched my cut/trade video on Monday, I talked about how he is a possibility of being released because it's an $18.5 million cap savings for a post-June 1st release. And, you make the move now. The Dolphins are going to start making moves, right? Because right now it is the 21st. So they got about like 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks to get under the cap. And I want to say also, we don't know the definite number of what the cap is going to increase in. I talked to you guys about it in that video, and I talked how last year went up by like 16 point something million dollars. Now they're thinking it's going to go up by even more. They're thinking 25 million. And again, the projections that you see on Spot Track and Over the Cap are not for those numbers. They don't have a definite number. So it's a roundabout way. So a lot of things could change. But before we jump into all that stuff, I do have to shout out today's sponsor, and that is BetUS. I've been talking about BetUS. They have been a sponsor of mine for all of the season. They're going to be a sponsor for the off season. They do some fantastic things over on their site. So as you can see here, I am on their site, BetUS. They have so many different sports, right? Click the link in the description. You get 125% on your first deposit. What? Not just your first deposit, on your first 3 deposits, and they also have betting insurance. So go check them out. Look at this site. So the NFL season's over, but you can even come on here, click display selected, and you can bet on who's getting drafted when. Fantastic. Like, you want to do some draft picks? Here you go. Hey, I'm not into draft pick, into betting on that. All right, cool. Go over to some basketball. We're getting close. Just had the All-Star games. Hey, you know what's coming up? Baseball. And you could see how easy it is. You can bet on the awards at the end of the year. You can bet on stats. You got all of this great stuff on here, and it's very easy to do. You want to bet on who's going to be the AL Cy Young? You click on it, you hit display selected, and you see the prop bets. Garrett Cole is the favorite to be the AL Cy Young. Who's the least favorite? Well, it seems to be Corbin Burns. So go check out BetUS. Fantastic site, like I said. Very proud to be sponsored by them, and they help us out a ton. So go check them out. And again, look at all this cool stuff. Also, if I didn't mention this, they have a casino. So if you want to play cards and all that other stuff, you could do that as well. Go check them out. BetUS. So yeah, we're going to be talking about Xavien Howard here. Now, Baker Jackson came out with a very great article. He kind of broke it down a little bit for us, and kind of talks about how Xavien Howard, his tweet, not his tweet, but his post on his Instagram story with the words from Usher saying, sometimes you got to leave, sometimes you have to go away from home to be truly valued and appreciated and maybe find yourself. Sometimes in the wilderness, you find something valuable and you can come back and really enjoy it. Essentially saying you got to go. Sometimes you got to go. Sometimes you got to, step out of your comfort zone, yada, yada, all that stuff. Now, he says an NFL associate of Howard, someone who has a relationship with him but does not work for him, said his sense is that Howard is very much open to outside options and would be reluctant to taking a big pay cut to remain here. But he couldn't say with certainty that he would do it. He would do if asked to take a small pay cut. Let me read that one more time. but couldn't say with certainty that he would do if asked to take essentially saying he's not saying that he wouldn't take a pay cut, but he's very open to going out and not taking a pay cut and actually making some money. Now, here's the thing with Xavien Howard. Let me get into one more thing. A source with direct knowledge said that at this point, the Dolphins have not informed Howard whether they're keeping him and have not asked him to take a pay cut. Howard missed the final regular season game and playoff game with a sprained foot. Now, here's the thing about Xavien Howard. Now, we're gonna look at his contract, but we're also going to kind of look at his stats. Now, this isn't about knocking down Xavien Howard. This is more about looking at the money and is it worth it. So here we have his contract, right? Like I've talked about this on Monday, 25.9 million cap hit. And if they were to release him now, this is all new. If they were to release him now, it's a ton of crazy money. Now, look, if they do it right now, you see the money. If they do it between March 14th to March 15th, Dolphins lose money. And again, March 15th to the 1st, they lose even more money. So they would have to do it right now, today. They would save 2.8 million. But you could see here, if they do it as a post-June 1st cut, which means they could release him right now and designate it as a post-June 1st cut, they save $18.5 million, but they can't touch that money nor see that money until after June 1st. So you look at his contract, right? Say the Dolphins didn't cut him and they kept him. He's making roughly around, if you take the three numbers and get an average, you're looking at probably around like $23 million a year. But when you look at his grades, since having 10 interceptions, 10 in 2020, he hasn't been that very good. Now, in 2020, when he had 5, right? Not bad. 80. So he had a 53 passer rating, meaning quarterbacks that targeted him had a 53 passer rating. Then it went to 88.2. Then it jumped up in 2022 to 121.1. It was very bad. That was probably his worst year. And then it kind of went back down last year to 86.7. His reception, again, 2022 was a bad year. He allowed 67.5 receptions. Last year went down a little bit, 62, but his best year again in 2020, he allowed 52.2 receptions, least amount of yards, most amount. Like you see, he's progressively gotten worse and worse. And he's even been banged up. He's been injured on and off. So is he going to get 25 million on the open market? No. He most definitely is not getting this number anywhere on the open market. He might get this number on the open market, the 10 million, but nowhere near 25, 22. So that's where he needs to come and kind of think about his situation and kind of think about, do you want to stay with Jalen Ramsey? Do you want to stay with Anthony Weaver? Have you talked to Anthony Weaver? Does he put you in a situation that you feel more comfortable in? Because I talked to you guys about the defense that the Ravens ran last year and how they had their outside corners pressing, 24% of the time, which was number 1 in the NFL. But last year we had our outside corners pressing 4% of the time, which was dead last in the NFL. And Ramsey and X are like the best at press man coverage. Does he talk to Weaver and realize, look, I'm not getting 25 million. I'm not even getting 12 million out in the open market. I'm probably getting whatever amount of money. I might as well take a pay cut and just stay with the Dolphins. I have a home here. I'm comfortable here, yada, yada, whatever. That is a possibility. Like he said in the article, it's not out of the realm of a possibility. But couldn't say with certainty what he would do if asked to take a small pay cut. That's what it said. My dyslexia just completely butchered it, and I read it twice to you. So they haven't asked him. Because a source with direct knowledge said, to this point, the Dolphins have not informed Xavien Howard they're keeping him and have not asked him to take a pay cut. So they haven't asked him yet, but he said he couldn't say with certainty what you do if they ask him to take a small pay cut. In the open market, how much is he going to make? And would it just make more sense for him to stay where he's comfortable? Gary Jackson talks about kind of the situation that the Dolphins are in the cornerback situation room. If Xavien Howard isn't gone anymore. So he says, besides the possibility of needing to replace Howard, the Dolphins also must decide how to fill the slot corner where Kader Kohou regressed this past season, and whether to entrust a top 4 cornerback slot to seldom used rookie Cam Smith, who played 20 snaps last year, or sign a veteran backup. Nick Needham, who was used sparingly after his October return from his Achilles, and Eli Apple will be a free agent. I don't want to see Eli Apple on this Dolphin field in a Dolphin jersey ever again. So the Dolphins can be in a position where they need to address 3 cornerbacks. 1, a starter to replace Xavien Howard if he parts ways, a nickel corner to challenge Kader Kohou, and a cheap veteran to supplement Jalen Ramsey, Howard, or whoever replaces him, Kader Kohou, and a veteran nickel addition. If the Dolphins go shopping in free agency for corner help, and that's expected, here's a little breakdown of the options. So here are some of the names that he put out there. So high usage ones. So these are 75. There are 75 free agent corners and 21 who have played heavy snaps, more than 550, who warrant starter money, including Kansas City's Snead, Adoree Jackson, Kendall Fuller, Stephon Gilmore, no thank you to that, Michael Davis from the Chargers, Jalen Johnson from Chicago, Jeff Okudah from Indiana, from the Colts. Wow, I can't believe Jeff Okudah. That's crazy. Kenny Moore from the Colts, and Awuzie from Cincinnati. There's also Houston, Steven Nelson, Pittsburgh, Levi Wallace, Jordan Lewis from Dallas, Green Bay, Keyshawn Nixon. There's a ton. Of that group, some would seem out of the question from a financial standpoint, such as Jalen Johnson, who had a 33.3 pass rating in his coverage or area, or Snead, both expected to receive big money. Owusu and Fuller probably would be quite as pricey, but could command in the $7 million and $10 million per range. Both would be solid options if Miami and Howard part ways. So would these aforementioned corners who have passer ratings below 100, Howard had a solid 86.7 passer rating against them last year. Part-time starters. These are corners with the NFL body of work who have become part-time starters, including C.J. Henderson, Rock Ya-Sin, Jalen Mills, Shaquille. My brain's just not working. Griffin, Dane Johnson, Ronald Darby, Chandon Sullivan, Arthur Mullet. Most of these players started 3 to 10 games last season, all are at least serviceable. From the group, the lowest pass rating would be Darby, Griffin, Sullivan, Mullet. Slot options. These the Dolphins could bring in clear-cut starting nickel corner, or at least one to compete with Kader. The Colts' Moore was 3 interceptions, including 2 returned for a touchdown, would be the best of the group, but he would be costly. Fuller and Murphy Bunty, who could play inside and outside, would be other options. Dolphins also could try to find one in the draft with Missouri's Chris Abrams Drain and Washington State's Chow Smith Wade among potential mid-round options. Overall, I think the domino effect really is going to come down to Xavien Howard. And like I said, he posted that Instagram story, and a lot of people are looking at that saying, oh, he's gone. But again, it's a situation where he needs to look at his own body of work, and then he needs to look at everything outside. And is he going to command money like Snead? Not at all. Not even close. Snead's probably getting $20 million a year. He's not getting that. Is he getting 8? Is he he needs to look at that, and then he needs to talk to the Dolphins. If the Dolphins are like, we'll offer you this, and it makes sense, he might stay. Now, I'm a huge Xavien Howard fan. 2020 when he had 10 interceptions, I'm like, defensive player of the year. Why he didn't win, yada yada. I was all for Xavien Howard. But that was 4 years ago, 3 seasons ago, and he's not that same guy. it's just obvious. He's not that same guy. He was beat a ton of times last year. Regardless if he was healthy or not, that's another thing, because it always seems like the biggest excuse, which it's not necessarily an excuse, it's a reason, was he always has like a groin or a hamstring or a foot or some type of injury that when you're like, why is he getting beat? Well, it's because of this. We can't have that, especially when we need our passing defense to be the best, because you're facing opposing quarterbacks like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow. We need our defense to be top notch. So is Xavien Howard out? I think he has 1.5 feet out the door. I think he's like, if you want like a symbolism for what I think of where Xavien Howard is, I think he's closing the door. So the door's open and he's grabbing the doorknob and he's looking at Chris Greer. I think that's where he is. So he has both his feet out the door. He's turning and he's grabbing the doorknob to close the door and he's looking at Chris Greer, waiting. What are you doing? Kind of like are you coming with me or not? You know what I'm saying? That's where he is. So if Chris Greer says, hey, would you take a pay cut? We'll give you this much. And he doesn't like it, I'll close the door. If not, he might step back in and say, what'd you say? So we'll see. I think the dominoes are going to start falling really soon. I think you're going to start seeing cuts and restructuring and all that stuff happening really soon, because they need to get under the cap before the 13th of March. And it's coming up quick. So comment below. Let me know. Do you want to keep X? If he takes a huge discount to stay with the team, would you be happy with that, just to have that veteran experience to play with Cam Smith? Comment below. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next video. But like usual, stay classy. Fins up.